back down. 9 now, and that's my discrimination arc all sorted. It's very simple. It's an easy thing to do, but it's also quite easy to notch out by accident if you press accept and reject when you go over a decent target. But that's how you fix it. That's how you fix it. Accept and reject screen, move the cursor and then use the accept and reject button to notch it in and back out again, back in again. Simple as that. The final setting that we actually have now is recovery speed. There's a lot to be said about recovery speed. It's if you know, 9 is incredibly 8 sorry is incredibly fast and 1 is incredibly slow. So this is all about target separation. So that's a good target beside say a piece of ferrous iron. If you've got it on level 1, it will still separate that target, but you will have to swing, as Neil Jones says, you know, slow and low. And I mean, Neil, if you've ever seen Neil working, he is remarkably patient and slow with his swing. I mean, it's that kind of speed he's doing, and he gets the targets, but you need endless amounts of patience to do that. But if you're gridding an area, then you know you can drop the recovery speed to 1. You'll get the maximum depth that the machine will go, but you will have to adjust your swing speed to compensate for that. Because if I was to run around a field swinging at my normal pace like that, or even going faster, then I'll be missing a lot of targets, because the target separation, if it goes over a bit of iron, it'll take, you know, a couple of seconds before it will be ready to detect again. So if there's non-ferrous beside that iron, I'm going over the iron quick, then it won't have recovered in time to get that non-ferrous target, so I'll be missing it, and I'll think the machine, the field is dead quiet. I'll be saying, oh, there's nothing in this field, you know. Whereas if you then turn it up to recovery 6, which is the standard, that's about the best balance, where it's getting you decent depth, but it's also allowing great target recovery. So, you know, anything within a couple of inches, 2 to 3 inches of a bit of iron, assuming that the bit of iron is not massive and overwhelming, say a cut half, then you will pick it up on recovery speed 5, 6 or even 7. I only go into recovery speed 7 and 8 when the ground is highly mineralised and I will have ground balance. So see, if I'm having to ground balance a machine and it's really highly mineralised, that you're talking about over 40-50% mineralisation in the ground, then I'll probably jump up to recovery speed 7. And the reason I do that is I see mineralisation. If you imagine iron filings spread all over the field, it's like a net. You know, they're not in every bit of ground, but they're across the net across it. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see in between the holes of the net to get these targets that's in there, because I'll get my maximum depth there, because I'm not seeing the mineralised ground. So the higher the recovery speed, the better. But it also doesn't mean that you put it up to recovery speed 7 and then you're walking about like that, because you're defeating yourself. You know, you can put the recovery speed up, but maintain your discipline and just your normal speed when you're walking, and that will help get the targets in mineralised soil. 8 is extreme, but again, don't speed up. Just because its recovery speed gets faster doesn't mean you get faster. In actual fact, it works quite conversely. You can actually get slower and get more targets because the machine's going faster. But if you go slightly slower, then you're giving the machine even more of a chance of seeing in those holes in the mineralisation and getting decent targets. Now, with recovery speed, if we do a long press of the cog, you'll go onto the what is now infamous or famous iron bias. Now, the iron bias is just a noise filter, and you could liken, I think, iron bias, at its highest noise filter, 9, is approximately the same as the noise filters on a CTX. So that's why, you know, CTXs can appear very stable and quiet compared to an Equinox. It's not that the CTX is less sensitive than the Equinox, because it's not, but it does have more factory preset noise filters to make the experience a little bit quieter and more stable. The Equinox is a raw brute of a machine, and you know, iron bias 0, you know, you're getting the full power of that machine without any noise filters going into the ground. But this can be a little bit overwhelming for people, so that's why we always advise initially, until you get used to the machine, to set it somewhere in the middle, which is roughly 4. Because what that's doing is giving you the best chance of identifying any bits of iron which are odd shaped, circular, have holes in them as well. You know, you'll be able to identify them better with your iron bias set at 4. You'll lose a tiny bit of depth, it's fractional, it's nothing to worry about. And the more experience you get, then the more you can drop your iron bias down to, I generally use it at 2, but I can use it at 0, because what you've got to remember is we used the Equinox for, I don't know, 9 months without any iron bias. You know, there was none. Iron bias hadn't been put onto the machine, so you know, we were using it without it, and it is perfectly usable without it. You will dig more iron the lower this goes, so if you run it on 0, you will dig more iron. You will get iron falsing if there's 2 small iron targets next to each other. You'll get that kind of halo effect where it will see it as a circular target, and so you'll get a positive response in the machine. It's just one of these things, the more experience you get, the more you'll actually start to hear and recognise iron. I'll dig very little iron in a day, as will Sharon, but occasionally a bit will fool us, or occasionally we'll dig a bit because there's something about the tone beside it that we want to investigate it. It's only one more hole in a field and it's a bit of iron. I'm not saying I'm some kind of genius that I don't. Iron's metal, I metal detect, so of course I'm going to hear it, and on occasion I'm going to dig it. And no machine is infallible about iron. So I mean, that's essentially the basic kind of settings with the advanced settings and what they do. You've then got obviously your modes here. I think it was Willie come up to me in the field last week saying that the problem, the Equinox was going mental and he couldn't understand it, was detecting coke and everything else. What he'd actually done was inadvertently pressed this button when he was coming out of the settings twice, and it actually changed the mode from field 1, and he'd actually moved it into beach 1. Right, so that's why his machine wasn't behaving the same as it was, and that's always the first thing to check, is user error. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory term, because I do it on occasions, especially in the pissing rain, in the mud, but you can barely see your screen, you're just pressing buttons, and occasionally you'll move it off your mode. So always check that, just check you've not put your sensitivity either right down, because Jim Foster was another guy who came up and said to me, this machine's crap, it won't even detect a hammy in them half a centimetre from it, and basically inadvertently turned his sensitivity down to level 1. So of course, so I showed him my genius and put it up to level 22, and he was astounded. I now think he's super glued all the buttons so he can't actually move them, but he's found a lot of stuff with it. So the things to check is you haven't changed mode by accident, you haven't reduced your sensitivity down. If you're hearing a lot of iron, you might have taken the discrimination off, the factory discrimination, by pressing the horseshoe, which basically takes out iron and ground noise. It will take out ground noise as well, so that will quieten the machine down if you want the machine in a quieter experience. That's what the horseshoe does. Your sensitivity obviously works direct from the detect screen, plus and minus. So you can reduce it right down, your sensitivity, or you can turn it all the way up and you can hear them interfering with you as I'm putting it right up. The sensitivity is great, and it depends what detecting experience you want. I've ran this machine as low, it was on the black sand in Hawaii, I've ran it down as low as 12 or 13 I think it was, simply because the machine was struggling in the black sand, which is magnetic sand on the beach. So I turned it right down, and I was still getting remarkable depth out of it on the black sand. You know, I was still getting 6-7 inches, and that's super highly mineralised ground, probably one of the worst detecting environments you could go in. So on our fields, you know, I would have no hesitation if I wanted to have a quieter experience, understanding that I'm losing some depth of running the machine at 15, 16 sensitivity. I'll still get the targets within the first 6 to 8 inches. So if you're on, you know, ploughed soil, ploughed and rolled, and you're going fast across it, then you can reduce your sensitivity and it will find the targets 6 to 8 inches if you want a quieter experience. If you want to run it hot, like some of the more extreme users do, the most extreme tester would be Neil Jones, and he runs his machine all the time at 25. I can run it at 25 as well, it doesn't bother me. But I've got a year under my belt, or a year plus, of using this machine, so I know what it's like. As a beginner, I would say your kind of maximum sensitivity you want to put it to is 22, because that's enough not to bombard you until you get used to the machine. But you could also have it at the factory 20, or even below that if it's too chatty at 18. And 18 will still get you. It will still get you 9-10 inches on decent, as long as the ground is not highly mineralised. If it's fairly benign or under 20% mineralisation, you will get the depth down at 18 sensitivity.